What up, 24-hour party people? 'Tis I, Tim the Brand Weaver, and we're back with another episode of Branding for Breweries. You know the deal now. Cool, handsome, attractive, beautiful, and intelligent people jumping into your earballs and waxing lyrical about how to do things better at your brewery from a marketing, sales, and branding perspective. And in order to do that, I must thank the show sponsor, Charles Fareham, incredible hop suppliers doing the best out there ultimately. If you've been living under a rock, where have you been? Check out Charles Fareham, check out their range, check out what they do. And they're even offering to help out breweries these days with background stories behind each and every hop that they offer. So reach out to them, get involved, and they will sort you out a super proper good. Now on to today's guest. He needs no introduction because he's a bit of a legend in his own right, but I'm going to let him introduce himself shortly. The important thing is, what are we talking about today? We're talking about video, that thing where everyone goes, yeah, I know we need a bit more video on the website or on our social media. It's meant to perform really well, but we're just too busy. We just can't do it. Well, we are here to give you a low effort brewery video strategy from none other than Bryant Vander Weerd from Full Pour Media. Let's bring him to the stage and let's have a chat. Bryant, my man, how are you doing?
I'm doing my best, man. We're all just out here doing our best, aren't we?
We are. We're just clawing our way through life, trying to bring rays of sunshine and joy into everyone's world, right?
Yes, sir.
Bryant, thank you for joining me today, my man. To begin with, before we get stuck into how to shoot some decent video and make it work for you, could you give a bit of an intro to yourself? Because some people may not know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryant Vander Weerd, as Tim said, I am the owner and creative director of Full Pour Media. So we are a creative agency based in the U.S. in a state called Madison, Wisconsin, glorious Wisconsin beer state over here, helping out breweries as well as equipment suppliers, kind of like Charles Fareham. We have not worked with Charles Fareham. That's your buddy, but kind of other suppliers, other manufacturers as well, really to just help build out their video content, help build out their creative strategy a lot more robustly.
Wicked. Well, one day you never know. You might work with the Charles team, eh? But let's stuck in, dude. Bryant, why are so many breweries still struggling with video content, dude?
Great question. You have just described the hill that we have to climb all the time in this world. A lot of my sales are kind of dealing with that. I would kind of boil it down to maybe 2 or 3 different reasons. I think most of all is like that whole time thing. Oh, no, I don't really have time. I don't have time to do this. That kind of filters into, oh, this takes too much time to do. So it's too expensive or it's too time consuming. Or maybe there's this impression that it's just not needed in general. Like, oh, well, we're posting to social media once a day. So, as long as we're posting, right, like that's good. And yes, it is, like that is good, but there's a hell of a lot more stories to be told, through video. So I would boil it down to those as kind of the maybe the top 2, top 3 reasons that I regularly hear from suppliers, from the brewery side of why, like, video is not really our biggest priority right now.
I get you, and I understand, and even like putting video together myself, I find challenging and time consuming, but I can almost see the benefits of it as well. In your mind, why is video such an important platform in 2026, trying to get out there in the marketplace?
Sure. This is where I kind of like always love to pull out the statistics, the numbers, because they don't lie. I go back to these numbers all the time. This comes from what is this? It's called Wise Owl. This is the website I always like to use. So many different video marketing statistics. 91% of businesses use video as a marketing tool, just across the board. Now, obviously, that varies by industry as well. This is just like businesses in general are using video in some fashion, whether that's live, whether that's Instagram Reels, or maybe explainer videos. And then 93% of, so we talk about video marketers, so people who are already in the industry, who are already using video, 93% of those people, it's like a key point of their marketing strategy. They have made it the foundation, the basis for the majority of what their strategy is doing for them. So some really high numbers like that. Breweries are obviously lumped in with that. I tend to see that number drop, especially when it comes to breweries. Just being a smaller business, I can't necessarily blame folks. They've got to keep the lights on. They got to get more beer in the tanks, get more beer in glasses, and bring more people in. So I do understand that side of it. So we're always sensitive to that as well. But I mean, hell, 91%, almost 100% of businesses are using it.
Yeah. So clearly it's doing something right if it's so high a
Right.
percentage. You touched on it there, man, like the whole idea that breweries are a small fish when it comes to the sizes of the businesses, or a lot of them are at least. They're all wearing multiple hats or juggling plates, whatever analogy you want to use. And I've had it before where I've spoken to press, like, what, like another thing now? I've got to turn the blooming iPhone camera on myself and start talking. What would you say to those brewers who just really don't want to step in front of a camera?
I get it. That's what I would say. I myself hate stepping in front of the camera, so I can totally understand. I live behind the camera. I work behind the camera. I work at this desk doing video editing. So, I and even some of my colleagues who I've talked with, who I see one guy on LinkedIn really leaning in, and he's a marketing guy. He's really leaning in this year to, getting himself out there and in front. And he even admits like he's super nervous. He's super anxious about it. So I was just say all that to say, I get it. I do understand it. That said, putting the owner in front of the camera, putting the staff in front of the camera, really helps to humanize the brand. It's so easy to just take a photo of a beer on the bar or in someone's hand, or take photos of customers. I would say images of people is great. That is obviously a hell of a lot better than just a beer on a table. But what's better is actually getting the staff, actually getting the ownership, because that is the brand. I mean, the ownership created the brand. So the more you can get your own face, looking at the brewery owners specifically, the more you can get your face in front of the camera, the more humanized you're going to make your brand. I mean, people purchase from brands that they know, like, trust. And one of the biggest ways to accomplish all three of those things is to get yourself out there, put your pretty face on camera.
And I suppose it's only going to become easier over time as well. The first time you do it is going to be the most challenging, terrifying.
It's gonna suck. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna not be great. And that's why I liked, the title of this event is like, gosh, I'm sorry, what was it? I'm blanking on the name. It was like, done is better than perfect, right? Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to start. You just need to get out there. You just need to, the first one again. Yeah, you're gonna trip, you're gonna fall. But it is just like everything else is just put it into practice, get it out there.
And the other thing I would say is, like, if you bring someone on camera and they're like, oh, I don't know what to talk about, it's like, actually, you're talking about your bread and butter. It's the thing that you probably know most about than anyone else out there. No one's going to be like, oh, hey, what's your marketing strategy for your brew? It's like, no, tell me about your beer. Why is it amazing? And what do you do to make it? Everything else is irrelevant, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so you're potentially able to prize the brewer from the silver tanks in front of the camera for a bit, but that's only like one thing. Yeah. What would you say, like, other low effort ways? This is what we're saying. It's low effort brewery video strategy that breweries can get video content and make it work for them.
Yeah. It's the lowest hanging fruit is reels. And I'm not talking about, trending audio and trying to go viral and, following all these other trends. You can definitely follow trends. You can, if something makes sense for the strategy that you're using. But that's the lowest hanging fruit, is just reels, period. Is just that short form, that quick short form. And even within that you don't have to put your face in every single reel. I mean, that's just a good way to just kind of start handling this phone and handling, some technology around video that's kind of centered around video, and just start to work it into your strategy that way, so that it feels a lot more organic than instead of just kind of like hard injecting yourself, getting yourself on camera right away. Like, let's lead up to it a little bit. Instagram Reels, kind of that short form video content, that's really going to be your easiest, your quickest win.
Okay. But then a lot of people go, yeah, we know Instagram Reels,
Sure.
we get it, we can do, but what? Like, do I just put a pint glass there and do I film it? Like, what around the brewery would you be saying, like, this is good, this is interesting content? What would you shoot?
Sure. So much more than you would think. We have a client out of Kansas City, and we were recently having a content strategy meeting with them, and kind of always we go back to like the parable or the metaphor of the sight glass, just having a sight glass. These are things that you work with every single day. So they kind of fall to the background of your own mind, of your own operations, but those are actually like really good peeks into your processes, into the things that you're doing. You don't have to give away trade secrets. You don't have to kind of, go into deep recipe development, but just the day-to-day, like the day-to-day of your operations can actually be a lot of fun for outsiders to watch. I mean, there's so many beer nerds out there, especially if they already are a fan of your channel or a fan of your brand. Just seeing some more of that kind of back end, behind the curtains looks, again, which feels so every day. It just feels so like, who cares to you, ho hum, whatever. But people care, they would love to see, a sight glass, just a quick 5-10 second tracing down the hose of your your new amber that's coming out for the fall, or this and that, like a special release coming out. Just again, get in there and start doing it. Like the ideas are, I don't want to say endless, but there are a lot of them.
And so you talked about, like, kind of obviously, tracking down to the pipeline or whatever it is. That idea of motion, is that quite important versus just like popping your camera up somewhere and then something happening within that frame?
Yeah, I mean, definitely have motivation, definitely have, an idea. The more active you can be, the better. Just obviously, like sticking the camera up, that has value. If you have a festival, if you can have a neighborhood festival, something like that. Maybe you're doing a time lapse video or something that's just kind of going to be all still, but something that's got motion, something that's eye catching. We're all aware of nowadays of kind of how to stop that scroll. We need to figure out how to catch people's attention a little bit, and motion, and we can even go into this, is like what equipment to, like lighting, just having equipment, having gear that makes your videos pop a little bit more than just cell phone video. Something that's going to be eye catching. I mean, yeah, you're definitely going to want movement in there.
And is that like just a one shot with movement, or do you recommend, like, if you're doing a reel, for example, you can shoot a couple of different shots and they get stitched together? Is that the kind of approach that you'd recommend versus the singular shot?
I wouldn't say one is necessarily better or different over the other. It's just the purpose behind it. What story are you telling? What is the general kind of use case for moving or for not moving? That's deep, video production 101 kind of stuff, and in the higher end even stuff. Like if you're moving, have a reason to be moving. If you're still, have something that you're showing in frame, kind of deal. So one doesn't necessarily have more or less benefit, I would say, over the other. It's situational.
Okay, well, let's take this and make it like super practical then.
Sure.
A lot of breweries, most breweries have beer releases, right? If you're putting together a bit of a video shoot plan or a shot list from idea generation to the point that it's out, what are those kind of things that you'd be recommending a brewery to capture along that journey?
Yeah, so this speaks to creating processes, right? Creating systems, always have a release plan. And that filters down from you've already got a release plan in terms of getting the cans ready, in terms of, the dates that you need to brew, how long its fermentation is going to take. All of these pieces are set. There are steps that need to be taken. So let's apply that to your video, to your marketing side, as well as let's create processes around every release. Needs to be, well, obviously you can deviate a little bit, but every release needs to be done this way. This is the system. This is the process for releases that needs to happen. And by turning that into a process, you can really free up a lot of brain space. You don't have to think about it. You don't really have to think about, oh shit, I got to post today. That's what I always say is I try to move people away from, oh crap, posting. Oh crap. Today's the day I got to post. Having that system, having that process in place is going to be huge. So then you can start to think, again, to your initial question of all of these different steps that I just mentioned, your brew day, your even going down to what do we do with spent grain afterward? There start to be all of these little things, these little inside looks that you can see of this is something that we can add to our release calendar. Hey, we know that 2 weeks out, we need to get video of it going into fermenters and just kind of put that up on our Instagram stories just to update people real quick about it. That's already down in your marketing strategy, in your marketing processes. So I think you need me to touch on anything else? I mean, I love processes. I love, listing things out like that. You need me to go into any additional details there?
I think it'd be really helpful to go take an example of, the first pour. Okay, we've brewed it, we've got it, it's now on tap. Is the first pour, is that one shot? Are you looking to capture handle, it going into glass? Are you looking to capture the can if you've got it? Are you trying to get all these multiple pieces in that one time?
Yeah, as much as possible, really. And I don't want to say that to be oh yeah, you just need to shoot every damn thing that's out there. But again, what is the purpose? Let's say, the cans arrive, and if whether they're sticker labeled or whether they're digitally printed, something like that. Just having that step documented is valuable. It takes maybe 2 to 5 minutes, and can be put up on stories that day. You can bank it for later content as well if you're doing maybe a larger reel about the the release of the beer itself. Yeah, I mean, anything leading up to that first pour, just even now we're talking about going on camera, just talking about the recipe development. Hey, here's why we wanted to go with this pumpkin beer. Here's the local coffee roaster, that led us into this coffee stout kind of thing. There's another, a couple of pieces of content as well is just the lead up to the first pour. That can build a ton of anticipation. So I would say less about, one shot of the tap and one shot of the can. There's so many different sub steps or pre-existing steps before that that can really build that hype and build that anticipation leading up to.
Yo, I just want to take a second out of Branding for Breweries to make you aware of something. For those of you who don't know, outside of hosting Branding for Breweries, writing the book Branding for Breweries, I also provide independent breweries with hands-on support with their branding, design, and marketing. In fact, it's even better than that because it's not just me, it's a whole bunch of awesome independent brewery folks who are dedicated to doing the very best for each and every independent brewery. The team have worked with some incredible breweries like Northern Monk, Ossett, Brains, Pillars, all over the globe, and gaining results like doubling revenue, winning Rebrand of the Year, even gaining over 7 million views on the TikTok channel. So if you're looking to level up your brewery's branding and marketing this year, drop us a message over at www.thebrandweavercollective.com and a member of the team will get back to you and we can have a chat. Now, back to the show. And then I suppose, what about once it is pouring? Is it worthwhile getting, drinkers' reactions or talking to them about it and almost trying to get video testimonials? Are they good content?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, that's a great way to approach it. We haven't, produced a ton of drinker testimonials, but it is something that's kind of like on our list, on our strategy, guides. That just kind of goes down to like who are you asking? Some of your, if you're regulars, so maybe somebody does want to be on camera, maybe they don't. That can be a little bit, people maybe necessarily don't want to be on camera talking about the beer. But yeah, I mean, just testimonials or tasting. If it's a newer beer, we've got a client, a monthly client who has like quarterly releases. So that stuff goes to the tap room, that stuff goes out to distribution. So as much hype as they can generate around, hey, this Belgian is out now in the spring. So let's get some more content around its production, get some more content, like you said, around the testimonial side. That is hype after the fact. We talked about hype before. That is the hype after the fact would be those testimonials.
Nice. And I suppose a big thing to bear in mind is like they can capture all this content, but it doesn't mean you have to use it and post it. Like if on reflection you go, well, that chat with Steven didn't go as well as I thought it would because he wasn't exactly as charismatic on camera as I hoped. Doesn't matter. It's all good. Just leave it and then move on and do the next thing.
Sure. Right. Exactly.
So earlier on, you touched on kind of the gear that you would use. Most people now have a phone in their pocket. But from a practicality side of things, are they normally pretty well set up to, shoot and go? Or are there things that people really need to be adjusting before they start capturing video content?
Just again, like just get going with it. Like that's one of the main things, especially for like vertical video, especially for, video that we're shooting like this. Most of that's going on social anyway. If you're doing a larger brand video, that's the conversation changes. Really today is what I'm focusing on is that kind of like those quick wins. And within that context, like totally just hit the red button and start going. There are a handful of like, you can use cinematic mode and you can use portrait mode to shoot your stills with and all that. But for something like creating reels, for something like just kind of like that short form content, just get it moving. They're the phones nowadays obviously are so like plug and play, just ready to rock.
Just get on it.
Other gear, I mean, you did mention like other gear, and that's kind of starting to turn the wheels in my head about things like lighting, things like a little mini tripod. I wish I had mine somewhere sitting around here, but we've all seen them with like the posable. You can kind of wrap it around the side of make it a tripod on a bar, something like that is helpful. So lighting in general, like learning that stuff is just alone going to put you heads and tails above anybody else. It's just going to help things to pop out a little bit better. Breweries can be very bright places, but even just having just some light that you can control nowadays with like what we're doing here, vlogs, I've got my ring light up here that's lighting me up. The vlogging world has, the lighting world and the vlogging world have exploded together. I mean, nowadays you can get lighting kits and tripod kits, like live stream kits on these camera websites, etc. That it's just like we're ready to go. Here's 3 little lights that you can just kind of use to pop onto your face or onto a product or anything else, just real quick. So lighting and tripod, those are 2 big. Yeah, when you mentioned gear, those are kind of the 2 big ones. And then, gosh, nowadays we see them, people holding those little square microphones nowadays, and
sticking it on the end of a wooden spoon, things and stuff.
That's opinions on those can be mixed and quality on those can be mixed, but just they're having audio that is audible, that is noise free or relatively noise free, That's going to be super helpful as well. Is not just relying on the microphone on your phone, not just relying on the lighting in the tap room, taking a lot of that into your own hands, quote unquote, is going to take the quality of your content a long way.
So tripod, easy enough. Put it on the tripod, it's locked in, job done. Microphone, even to some extent, put it in front of the person you're talking to. Stick it on a wooden spoon if you want, that's fine. But lighting, I think that's going to be an underestimated element, which not a lot of people know what they're doing. Like, they could buy one of those little pocket flashlights and just hold it in front of something. But what are the few things you really need to consider if you're going to light something well?
So the hyper technical term in kind of like these larger brand pieces that we do, 3-point lighting. I mean, that's kind of the thing that you learn in video production school and is taught. But just understanding what 3-point lighting is, like 2 and 3-point lighting, like how to balance, so it's not just like 100%. I've got this light here that's given off, and then I have zero light over here, so it's given a little bit of lighter on this side, darker on this side. Just understanding. And this is like nowadays. This was not that I was in college before the internet, but there was a lot less of this stuff on the internet when I was in college. Nowadays you can go to websites and read and just kind of study up on just how to elevate your video content. We've got a handful of kind of knowledge share pieces on our side, just that we give to clients that again make it, I say plug and play just because it sounds good, but it's just like it's you're ready to go. It's turnkey. Learning about audio, learning about 3-point lighting, and 3 and 2-point lighting, and how to balance the lighting for a shot, how to account for a window. How many breweries have windows in them? Every single one of them better have windows in them. So how to account for that, right? Like the temperature outside is the color temperature, or the brightness is super hot out here. So how do we account for that? How do we make up the difference for that? Just spending some time futzing around with the gear, with the equipment, getting to know it a little bit. Again, it's not hyper complicated. It's meant to be plug and play. It's meant to be turnkey. It's meant to be new user friendly. So that's where I'd go is really looking into how to balance lighting. It sounds complicated. It's really not. It's there for you to help things look a hell of a lot better.
So would you be a advocate for someone just getting out there and just having a play? I suppose if you almost didn't set yourself a brief and like, no, we have this beer release coming up, don't worry about that. Just actually, spend a couple of hours, get out there with a light, get out there with your phone and start playing and see what you can capture. Just get more comfortable with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously this is where things start to get into, I don't have time to do this and this and that. So, but going into this whole thing of Reels video content is prioritized, going into the whole thing of the algorithm. People hate to deal with the algorithm. But video content is prioritized on the algorithm. And I hear all the time about breweries that they want to get discovered more on social, or they have somebody come up to their tent. Brewery's 6-8 years old and they went to a festival and somebody comes up, oh, I live right down the street, I've never heard of you, or I live across town, I've never really heard of you. And that is one piece of this puzzle, is putting that Reels content out a lot more. I may have gotten off topic there, so feel free to refocus me again. But I got off on a soapbox.
No, it's okay. You kind of went on a kind of an S-bend there, but he kind of brought it back as well, right? It's absolutely fine. Another benefit I can see of actually shooting Reels now is that format you can then put in loads of places. So it's not just, when people hear Reels, they think of Instagram, but you've got TikTok, you've got YouTube Shorts now. Of course, it's going to go to Facebook. So it's expanding that what we were talking about, digital footprint actually before this chat, which then through to volume and numbers increases the chances of people seeing you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And even not overly customizing that content for each platform, but understanding the needs that Facebook has, the needs that TikTok has, how your audience differs across those may kind of dictate, and especially like when they're more active. Maybe people are more active on TikTok in the morning and Facebook at night. Just having a thumb on your analytics, on your back end analytics, can really help you understand when specifically to post those things, just so you're not shotgun approaching it and posting it to everywhere all at once and just kind of hoping for the best. So going into it with knowing that you can recycle it, but also understanding when to recycle it and you know, at what time and on what platform and what subject matter to talk about. So educated, kind of making an educated move to distribute your content in more channels. Absolutely.
I must admit, I am guilty of just smashing it all out at the same time. I really should look at the stats because, again, I'm one of those guys. I don't have time to sit here and at that particular publish, man. I can't do that. We talked about all the good stuff. What about the pitfalls and the mistakes that you see? Like, what are the no-nos? You're talking to brewery owners here, so what are the things where you're just like, don't do that with your video?
You know, it does go back to your maybe the bad audio, the bad lighting. That's really where I jump to the most. Overall, just understanding what purpose video serves. Don't just do video for the sake of video. You know, understand what purpose it serves in your strategy. You can tell when people are just kind of like chasing trends, and there's so many. I feel like brands have a tendency to try to go viral with some, you know, trending audio 6 months after that trending audio was already stopped being popular. It's like they just kind of like, oh, well, maybe we should do this one now. There's not really much thought to it. They just kind of like, oh, we should just do this because everybody's doing it. Understand, like, again, I mentioned that earlier about like going viral or about you know, using trending, basically trending memes. If it works, if it feeds your brand, if it benefits you overall, certainly use it. But even just doing video for the sake of video can be a slippery slope, can be kind of a pitfall in itself, because that starts to look fake. That starts to look like you're milking it. It starts to look like you're you know, you're not genuine, and that's certainly not, you know, that's not going to do you any favors at all. So just to wrap that, you know, that whole thing up is just understand what purpose it is serving within your larger strategy.
So let's talk about the purpose then. You know, people feel more confident taking a static photo a lot of the times than a video. So what are the right reasons to use video in your eyes?
The right reasons, you know, again, that silly algorithm, it just prioritizes the content. It shows video content to more people. It stops more scrolls. It is a great way. I talked about, you know, brands, people buy from brands that they know, like, and trust. That video is, again, like, video is the best way to improve all of those things, to improve customer trust, to include, you know, to grow people's brand affinity for you, by again, what kinds of content can we use? Like, what are our content pillars? Let's let them into our back end processes. Let's, you know, not meet the owner, but like maybe meet the beer where the owner's talking, or, you know, this, that, the other. Those are going to be, you know, your most kind of, I would say, call them beneficial reasons for doing video.
Fantastic. And so, Bryant, if we've had people listening today going, right, okay, we're gonna give it a pop. We've listened, we understand, we've got to do it. They're gonna go, right, tomorrow I'm gonna give it a go. What's the first thing that they got to get stuck in with, dude? What's your top tip?
Top tip, go back to that planning. Go back to the planning stage. You don't make a beer without planning it. Why do the same for your social, and for your marketing strategy? Start by, you know, again, like I said, understand where it's going to fit in there. Just pencil it like once a week, you know, just pencil it in. That's going to be like get in the rhythm, get in the habit of going to the gym, like get in the habit of eating healthy. It goes along with that, is just start to get into the habit. Just beginning is going to improve your content immediately. If you want those quick wins, again, we dove semi-deep or a little bit into audio and lighting today, but if that's too much right now, like let's just start hitting the record button and seeing what happens first. Do some planning, write out a list of 8 to 10 things that you can talk about. Again, like whatever small things that feel everyday to you probably aren't to everybody else. So just starting. I mean, that's my answer. Is just start doing it. Start moving stuff around. Start taking video. Yeah,
makes perfect sense. I mean,
any
content is better than no content, right?
Yeah.
Bryant, man, this has been a great chat. If people wanted to find out more, maybe they wanted to get their hands on some of the little guides you talk about with the lighting and stuff, how can they get in touch with you? How can they find out about your work?
Yeah. I have dove heavily into LinkedIn, just on the brand building side of Full Pour. So we are on LinkedIn, Full Pour Media. And I myself, Bryant Vander Weerd, on LinkedIn. Obviously, we're on the socials. fullpourmedia.com is our website. Anywhere and everywhere like that, I'm happy to respond, connect with folks, and just nerd out even a little bit more. I, like you, love to, like I said, give away value and just kind of like, hey, if it elevates, one other person, hey, yeah, here's some strategy. Here's my thoughts here. Let's nerd out about some video stuff. I'm totally down for that.
Amazing, man. Yeah, the more value we can give, the better it gets for everyone at the end of the day. Thank you again, my man. Great chat. Everyone who's tuned in today, you're all amazing. Those of you listening later on down the line, you might be driving the van, you might be doing a delivery run, you could be in the brew house. This is Tim from the past talking to you in the future. Yes, it's real time travel, people, and love it. Join us next time on Branding for Breweries for more amazing guests and ultimately very attractive people, just like my good friend Bryant here. See you on the other side, people. Cheers, Bryant. That's a wrap on this week's episode of Branding for Breweries. If you got something great from it, hit follow, like, and subscribe on your favorite streaming app. Or even better, leave a review, share it with your brewery pals, or get in touch, because I want to chat to you. Rock on!